They always talk about the moment a relationship ends. A huge fight, a cheating scandal, a dramatic goodbye at the door. For me, it happened in silence. No screams, no tears, no broken plates. Just one sentence that changed the way I saw 11 years of my life. The walls of her new shop were still bare when I finished assembling the last rack by the front window. The sky outside was already dimming, the orange glow of evening bleeding into the glass. My backaches were sharp and deep, the kind that settle into your bones when you've lifted too much, for too long. Her boutique wasn't even open yet, but I had treated every detail like it was sacred. Every shelf, every hook, every piece of decor had passed through my hands, because that's what a husband does. Or at least that's what I believed. Behind me, I heard the soft click of a wine bottle opening. "Relax," Lana's voice floated through the quiet. "You look like you're about to pass out." She poured 2 glasses, but only handed me one after taking a slow sip from hers. I sat on one of the display benches, rubbing my stiff shoulders. "Just tired," I said. "But it looks good in here. You're going to do amazing." She didn't say thank you. Instead, I noticed her staring down at her phone, scrolling, tapping, zooming in on something. A smile curved her lips. Then she gave a quiet laugh. "Look at this guy," she said, turning the screen for barely a second. There was a photo of a man posing shirtless in a luxury gym, abs sharp, watch gleaming, teeth perfect. Before I could comment, she flicked her thumb and the image vanished. And then she spoke the words that ended everything. "You know I'm not going to be with you forever, right?" I thought I'd misheard. "What?" I asked. She took another sip of wine, leaning back in her designer chair, the one she'd bought even before paying the shop rent. "You're a phase, Arjun," she said casually. "A stability phase. Safe, predictable. But I don't see you as my final chapter. I need someone more powerful, more connected. Someone who belongs in the kind of world I'm trying to enter." Her voice held no sadness, no guilt, just truth. Cold, careless truth. "You're temporary," she added. "A placeholder while I level up." I stared at her. This woman I had stood beside for 11 years. The woman I had carried through anxiety attacks, business failures, long nights, insecurity, debts, and breakdowns. My heartbeat sounded louder than her voice. "You're not angry?" she asked when I said nothing. I set my glass down slowly and forced my face into emptiness. "No," I replied. "I appreciate the honesty." Her eyebrows lifted in surprise. "That's why we've worked, Arjun. You don't take things personally. That's rare." She turned back to her phone as if the conversation was over. And maybe to her it was, but to me it was just beginning. That night I didn't sleep. I didn't cry. I didn't punch the wall. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying her words again and again until they lost their power and became motivation. Temporary. Placeholder. Not enough. The man she thought was small was about to show her how big silence could become. 3 mornings later, I woke up before my alarm, put on a clean shirt, grabbed my laptop, and walked to the small cafe facing the glass doors of City Hall. That spot had a regular visitor. Her name was Meera Rao, a financial analyst, independent consultant, quiet genius. She handled budgeting for startups, nonprofits, and local businesses. Even Lana's boutique had been on her client list once, until she refused to adjust numbers to look better. Meera was respected, and people like Lana hated people they couldn't bend. She was there in the corner as usual, headphones around her neck, fingers moving fast over her keyboard, a coffee near her elbow already going cold. She looked up as I approached. "You walking in here at 8 in the morning is more shocking than a tax audit," she said. "I needed someone honest," I replied as I sat down. She closed her laptop slowly. "That's serious?" "I'm getting divorced," I said. She didn't gasp. She didn't pity me. She just nodded. "Finally choosing yourself?" I told her everything. What Lana said, how she said it, how it didn't even hurt because betrayal that open stops feeling like betrayal. It becomes permission. Myra's expression tightened as she listened. "That's not ambition," she said softly. "That's cruelty dressed in confidence." "I'm not planning to destroy her," I said. "I just want to disappear from her life and build one she can never touch." She studied me, then gave a small, single nod. "Good. That's the most dangerous kind of man." There was a pause between us. Then, nervously, I asked, "Would you like to have dinner sometime? Just as people who understand each other?" Her answer wasn't rushed. "Only if there are no games," she said. "No jealousy, no revenge. Just honesty." "I don't have the energy for lies anymore," I told her. "Then yes," she replied. One dinner. 2 weeks later was Lana's preview night. Her soft launch. Champagne, flashing lights, influencers, borrowed luxury. And according to her, my role was simple. Show up, carry things, Smile when needed. Stay out of photos. I nodded. I stayed calm. I wore a simple, clean shirt and stood near the back of the room like invisible furniture. That's when I saw Mira enter. Not with me, but with a group of investors Lana had invited to impress. Mira looked stunning but professional. No drama. No performance. 15 minutes into the chaos, Lana noticed us talking. Her eyes sharpened. She walked over with fake elegance glued to her smile. "What's going on here?" she asked. Mira didn't blink. "Just discussing potential improvements for invoice automation." "For a man who fixes Wi-Fi connections?" Lana scoffed. The crowd around us suddenly went quiet. I finally spoke. "I fix more than Wi-Fi. Last month when your payment system failed, whose code restored it in 10 minutes. She went still. A few guests exchanged looks. That tiny moment revealed something she could never hide again. She didn't just underestimate me. She had no idea who I was becoming. That night, whispers followed her through her own event. 2 of her sponsors left early. And I realized something important. She wasn't powerful. She was just loud. Within days, anonymous reports were filed. Against me. Against Mira. Accusations of misconduct. Misuse. Fraud. None of them stuck. But the intention was clear. Lana had moved from careless to threatened. And threatened people become dangerous. So I moved all finances. Changed every password. Locked down everything. That's when she came home late, furious. "You freezing our accounts like I'm a criminal now?" she snapped. "You spend like there are no consequences," I replied calmly. "But every action has one." "You're trying to replace me," she said. "No," I replied. "I'm trying to outgrow you." That hurt her more than any insult ever could. That night I drafted the papers. Legal separation. Clear boundaries. Control over my funds. And when she read it, her hands shook. "You think you can just erase me like I meant nothing?" she whispered. "You already erased me," I said loudly enough for the silence to carry it. When Mira was invited to speak at a business seminar, I sat quietly at the back. The room was full of people that shaped futures. Near the middle of her presentation, the doors burst open. Lana walked in wearing white, rage under her makeup. She pointed at us. "He's betraying me. She's destroying my business." The room froze, dozens of cameras lifted. Mira stood tall. "No one here is owned," she said clearly. "You lost control because you never had respect." Security arrived. As they guided Lana out, she screamed, "You are nothing without me," and the whole room watched her leave. That was the moment everyone understood. She wasn't a victim. She was chaos. And nobody invests in chaos. The city approved my digital platform. Small businesses began using my software. Efficiency replaced frustration. My work finally had recognition. I moved into a small apartment filled with peace instead of tension. Mira helped me choose curtains, a table, real things for a real life. Weeks passed, then months. One final message came from an unknown number. "You'll always be ordinary." I was meant for more. I deleted it, because by then I had already become more. Not to prove her wrong, but to prove myself right. Final line, powerful for YouTube ending. She thought I was temporary. She thought I had no future. She thought she was the prize. But when I walked away in silence, I became the man she could never touch again. The truth is, Lana hadn't changed overnight. She had always been like this. I just hadn't seen it clearly before. When we met, she was magnetic. Loud laughter, big dreams, sharp tongue that I used to mistake for confidence. She spoke about success the way some people spoke about love, like it was the only thing that mattered. "You don't want a normal life, Arjun," she told me just weeks into our relationship. "You want a powerful one." And at the time, I thought she meant us. So I worked harder, heavier overtime, extra projects, side courses, night coding. I wasn't trying to be powerful for myself. I was trying to be enough for her. Every new step she took forward, I stayed 5 behind, holding her coat, funding her vision, fixing her mistakes. And every time she succeeded, she said, "We did this." But when anything failed, the words changed to, "You didn't step up enough." It was always subtle until it wasn't. I'd lost friendships for her, canceled trips for her, turned down better opportunities to stay close to her plans. And somehow, still, I was temporary. That betrayal didn't just end a relationship. It rewrote my entire understanding of love. After filing for separation, the apartment became a battlefield. Not of words, but of silence. She stopped talking to me entirely, but she wanted to be seen. So she made sure to come home late, smelling like expensive restaurants and unfamiliar colognes. She played loud music in the shower, laughed through the door while on unknown calls. She wanted reaction, and I didn't give her one. Instead, I woke up before sunrise. I worked on my platform in complete silence. Every line of code was therapy. Every solved problem was a tiny victory. I ate simple meals alone, cleaned only my side of the space, slept on the couch with a thin sheet and a clear heart. I wasn't mourning her. I was meeting myself for the first time. There were nights when the loneliness crept in like a fog. When I scrolled through old photos, beach days, birthdays, lazy Sundays on broken couches, wondering when the love had expired. Then I'd remember, she didn't lose me, she threw me away. And throwing something away doesn't mean it has no value. It only means someone failed to recognize it. One rainy evening, I met Mira at the cafe again. Not for work, not for business, just to talk. I didn't expect you to stick to your promise this strictly, she said as she stirred her tea. You haven't mentioned Lana once in weeks. She doesn't deserve that much space in my mouth anymore, I replied. Mira nodded slowly. There's something you should know, she said. I looked up. When Lana first came to me for accounting, she asked me how to hide personal expenses as business costs. When I refused, she said I was too ethical to succeed. I think she's always been afraid of people who can't be controlled. So why are you still around me? I asked. She smiled faintly. Because you're nothing like her, and because I can see what you're building, even when you don't. There was a long pause before she added, and because I'd like this to be something real, if and when you are ready. For the first time in a long time, the idea of real didn't scare me. Her boutique didn't collapse all at once. It bled out slowly. First it was sponsors that delayed payments. Then it was shipments that didn't arrive. Then it was models who canceled last minute. Finally, one late night, I came home to find her sitting on the floor surrounded by opened invoices. No makeup, no phone in her hand, just exhaustion. You're happy now, aren't you? She said without looking at me. I didn't destroy you, Lana, I replied. You drove too fast and blamed the road. She laughed, but it was empty. I should have chosen better, she murmured. That stung more than the original insult, because even then, she wasn't thinking of love. She was thinking of status. I hope one day, I said quietly, you choose peace instead of applause. She didn't answer. 2 weeks later, she moved out. No goodbye, no apology, just empty hangars and silence. 6 months after launching my app, we held a local business event, a small celebration of new systems and digital transformation. I was asked to give a speech. Me, the man who was once told he would never be endgame. As I stood in front of the crowd, I scanned faces. Small shop owners, local founders, single mothers starting businesses, teenagers dreaming of solutions, people who mattered. And in the crowd, Mira stood smiling. Not proud, not impressed, just happy. I didn't talk about Lana. I didn't talk about betrayal. I didn't talk about revenge. I just said one thing that came from the deepest, quietest part of my soul. Sometimes, the moment someone walks away from you is the moment you finally walk toward yourself. The room went silent. Then the applause came. But the real reward? For the first time, I believed my own words. That night, back in my apartment, I noticed something strange tucked in an old moving box. A small label in Lana's handwriting. Temporary storage, do not keep. I smiled, folded it, and placed it into a drawer. A reminder not of pain but of growth. She thought I was a temporary chapter, but I was the author all along. And I just started writing myself properly. Thank you for being here and listening to today's story. I hope it brought something meaningful to you. Until next time, take care. And remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe.